Morning, everybody. It's time for Morning Manna, and it's so good to be with you on this morning. What an awesome morning it is. Got a word for you on this morning. As you know, I always give you a little trailer for the sermon on Sunday. We're in this series, and in fact, Pastor Mo, my daughter, and Pastor Travis, they kicked this sermon series off. I'm going to have to catch up, and I got a word for you on this Sunday. You already know. You already know. It's all about the Sabbath we're dealing with. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. And I certainly know I heard all kinds of powerful things about worship at New Life O'Fallon, as well as at New Life in um, Columbia, Columbus. And so it was just powerful all around everywhere. But this morning it's all about sync to the Sabbath. Sync to the Sabbath. That's what we're going to talk about on this morning. Sync to the Sabbath. Get that. Put that in the chat area. Sync to the Sabbath. That's what we're dealing with on this morning. And I'm gonna give you a little bit of a trailer, if you will, for for Sunday's message. Now, Sunday's going to be a little bit different. Sunday's going to be a little bit different in that at the 8 o'clock, I'm going to be ministering this word and expanding on it, of course. And then at the 10 o'clock, we're going to revisit and put the period, the exclamation point at the end of the sentence with respect to the whole Real ID sermon series. We got to deal with these controversial, very emotional, very much issues that we need to deal with respect to sexuality and our real ID. And that's what we're going to deal with. We're going to deal with this, and we're going to deal with it compassionately. We're going to deal with it biblically, but we're going to deal with it because this is something not only that is a part of the culture. We got to be very sensitive to the fact that millennials, as well as Gen Zs, they are dealing with this head on, head on, head on, and we've got to empower and give them the handles in which they need to be able to pull themselves into the presence of Christ and out of the culture and the chaos of the communities that are all around us. So at any rate, that's what we're going. So really get a hold of that. And I certainly got a word for you on this morning. Sync to the Sabbath. Sync to the Sabbath. That's what we're going to deal with on this morning. But I got to greet everybody. I got to greet some folk on this morning. It's been a minute. It's been a minute since I've been in the flow, and man, I'm excited that I am back at the crib putting my head on my pillow. How about that? Good morning, Ramona. How are you on this morning? How are you, Deacon Joe? How are you, Minister Yolanda? How are you, Ella? How are you, Cynthia? How are you, Brother Nesbitt? How are you doing? All is well? I see you in here, hanging in here. Carolyn, how are you? Joel, how are you? Vaughn, how are you? Elder Mobley, how are you doing? Deborah, how are you? Laura is in the house. Dawn is in the house. Verena is in the house. Lee J is in the house. If it's your first, second, or third time joining us this morning, please let us know who you are, where you are, so we can shout you out. Good morning, Deborah. How are you? Fawn, how are you? Vicky, how are you? Francine, how are you? Brenda is in the house as well. That's right, Elder Mobley. You already know. Sync to the Sabbath. Sync to the Sabbath. Dan the man is in the house as well. Hello to all the Morning Manna fam. Pamela, how are you? Jacqueline, how are you? Valerie, how are you? Pamela, how are you? Angela, how are you? Why don't you share it right now while I'm greeting? Don't wait. Good morning, Anna. Good morning, Deborah, Dorsey. How are you all doing in the house? AD is in the house as well. So, Mari, how are you? Tamara, good to see you. CC, Liz is in the house. Candace is in the house. The author. How about that? Gotta get that book. That's good. It's a good book. Put it in the chat area there, Candace. The title of the book. Invite people. We want to celebrate. Life changes. We lift each other up. We ain't hating. We trying to make sure everybody prosper. You already know. So I got a word for you on this morning. Got a word. Sync to the Sabbath. Let's get right with this morning's manna. How about that?
Good morning and welcome to Morning Manna, where in 5 minutes or less, you're going to get an impartation with the text, the talk, and the takeaway. Join the Morning Manna fam every weekday morning at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. Don't forget to put in the chat the revelation that you get and share the manna. Now, let's get ready to have some manna so you can make it through your day.
God created you as a soundtrack. How about that? So you got to sync your Sabbath to the soundtrack. Here's the text, going to give you the talk. And then there's going to be the takeaway, just a trailer for the sermon on this coming Sunday. Here's the text, Exodus 20:8, the New King James Version. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. A little long, but hang in here with me. Here is the context of the text. God didn't design you to grind till you die. He didn't. He designed you to rest so you can rise. Get that. From Genesis to Jesus, God establishes a divine beat, a soundtrack called the Sabbath. 6 days of producing, 1 day of pausing. 6 days of hustle, 1 day of holy hush. Sabbath isn't a suggestion. Get that. It's God's scheduling system. Don't miss your appointment. Sabbath is not just a nap. It's a protest against the Pharaoh that is all around us. The Pharaoh of getting this done, that done, everything done. But being in a hush holiness before him. So push back on burnout, okay? And it's a prophetic pause that says, I'm not productivity. I'm not productivity. I produce, but I'm not productivity. Get this. Put it in the chat area. Here's what Jesus is, here's what God is saying in the text. When you sync with God's rhythm, you move from frantic flowing, exhausted, to energized, to restless, to rooted. So here's what I want you to get. 3 things. Here's the beat in the soundtrack of who you are. 1 is this. Pause before you produce. Pause before you produce. You're not ready to work until you worship. Can I say that again? You're not ready to work until you have worshiped. When you do, a lot more is going to come out of you. I got to be in his presence. 2, rest is a weapon. How about that? Rest is a weapon. Stillness is spiritual warfare. Be still and know that I am God. How about that? 3, holy rhythms bring heavy results. Holy rhythms bring heavy results. When you protect the pause, God powers the progress. When you protect the pause, God powers the progress. You're the soundtrack, and God has and wants you to sync with the Sabbath. So what's your takeaway this morning? Your takeaway is this. Today, choose rhythm over rush. Today, choose rhythm over rushing. How about that? Just a trailer for the message that we're going to minister at the 8 o'clock. At the 10 o'clock, we're going to have a panel, a different kind of a sermon. It's going to be very transparent, but it's going to lift you up to where you can meet the chaotic world that is around you with respect to sexuality and leading them to Christ. Share the man. If it bless you, bless somebody else. Don't keep it to yourself. I'll see you tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Monday with more Morning Manna. God bless you. Have a good weekend. See you Sunday.